Ever wonder why falling in love feels like a drug, but staying in love feels like a chore? Or why your dream job becomes just a job the moment you land it? Or why you can check every box on your goals list and still feel like something's missing? Well, there's a single chemical behind all of this. A molecule that fuels your ambition, your drive, your constant craving for more. It's why you chase goals, fall in love, binge Netflix, scroll TikTok, crave validation, and can't sit still. It's also why satisfaction always feels just out of reach, because this molecule doesn't care about having, it only cares about wanting. In this video, we're going to break down how this chemical controls your behavior, specifically how it affects love, success, addiction, social media, and the entire modern world. And most importantly, how to stop being its puppet. Let's dive in to the molecule of more. If you didn't guess already, the molecule we're talking about is dopamine. And here's what most people get wrong about dopamine. It's not the chemical of pleasure, it's the chemical of anticipation. Your brain doesn't flood with dopamine when you get the thing, it spikes when you're about to get it. Take a look at this graph. Psychologists actually measured dopamine levels in monkeys' brains during a simple reward experiment. At first, the monkey gets a banana and dopamine spikes. Fair enough. But then they introduce a signal, like a bell, right before the banana. And over time, the dopamine no longer spikes when the monkey gets the banana, it spikes when the bell rings, before the reward ever arrives. And then something even crazier happens. When the monkey finally does receive the banana, dopamine levels actually dip. And then after the banana is eaten, they crash. That's your brain. You get a hit of dopamine when the Amazon package says out for delivery, not when it arrives. You get it when they text you on my way, not when they're sitting next to you. You get it when you're about to buy the shoes, not when they're on your feet. And this is why we chase, why we scroll, why we swipe. Because the molecule of more doesn't care about having, it only cares about wanting. It's designed to make you seek, to push you forward, to keep you hungry. And this system worked great when our ancestors were chasing mammoths and searching for berries, when life was on hardcore mode. But nowadays, with everything you could ever need within arm's reach, the system gets hijacked. You scroll for hours, you spend more time daydreaming about success than you do actually working towards it, and you feel more restless and unfulfilled than ever. You're not broken, you're just being ruled by your dopaminergic system, and probably haven't even realized it. There's three main areas I want to cover to show you how dopamine is often in control. First up, love and relationships. Why you chase and then get bored. So falling in love is a massive dopamine bomb. Novelty, risk, uncertainty, everything dopamine loves. When they text you back, spike. When they don't, spike. When they say we need to talk, mega spike. It's chaos, it's addictive, and your brain eats it up. But what happens once things settle and the relationship becomes more secure, familiar, and routine? The dopamine disappears. And this is why some people sabotage healthy relationships and also why others chase toxic ones. Not because they want the drama, but because dopamine craves it. It's not looking for peace, it's looking for more. More attention, more passion, more Instagrammable chemistry. And what about in your work life? Let's say you finally hit that milestone, the raise, the promotion, the product launch. For a moment, you feel incredible. And then, nothing. The high wears off faster than you expected and you're already wondering, what's next? And that's why ambition can often feel like a treadmill. You run faster and faster, but you never actually arrive. And the most dangerous part is that we will often start to confuse the chase for meaning. We don't even know why we want the thing anymore. We just want something to chase. It's why entrepreneurs often feel empty after a big exit, or why so many sports stars will retire only to come out of retirement again 6 months later. We've all trained our brains to value the pursuit instead of the result. The other thing dopamine loves is novelty. And it's one of the biggest reasons why we get hooked on short-form content. You have no idea what's coming next. Every scroll is another maybe. Maybe this one will be interesting. Maybe this one will finally scratch the itch. But it never does. Because again, dopamine isn't about the reward, it's about the search for it. And so your brains become trained to crave switching. It's why deep work feels boring, why you can't watch a movie without also checking your phone, why you can barely even finish a long-form YouTube video without scrolling through the suggested tab to see what to watch next. It's not that you have ADHD. You've just trained your brain to expect a hit of dopamine every 12 seconds. You've become a full-time dopamine junkie, chasing micro hits instead of real fulfillment. You don't finish books, you don't finish projects, you don't even finish your own goddamn thoughts, because every time you try, dopamine pulls you towards something else. So, what can we do about it? So if dopamine is the molecule of more, then serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins are the molecules of enough. You might have heard them referred to as the here and now chemicals. When dopamine's screaming at you for more, these chemicals whisper enough. That's also part of the issue. They're quiet. They're not flashy or dramatic. They don't light up your brain like fireworks. They just make you feel content, which in a world addicted to stimulation can feel like nothing at all. But it's not nothing. It's peace. It's being fully immersed in a conversation. It's walking through a forest and noticing the way the light hits the leaves. It's finishing a task and not needing to post about it. It's not dopamine, it's presence. In the book, the authors explain how this is the present-oriented mind. It doesn't fantasize or predict. It doesn't chase imaginary futures. It just lives right here. The wild part is that most of us are so used to the dopamine buzz that when we finally feel present, it feels wrong. We feel guilty or anxious. I should be doing more. I should be chasing something. I should be scrolling or grinding or swiping. We fail to recognize that we're literally just going through withdrawals from our dopamine addiction. We're not bored. We're detoxing. And if we can sit with it long enough, we might just start to notice the beauty and joy in life that we've been too distracted to see. So how do we actually fight back? 4 main strategies I want to cover. First, delay gratification, even just a little. And this is honestly one of the most overpowered ways to actually build real discipline. The longer you wait for the reward, the weaker the dopamine grip. So try this. Feel like scrolling TikTok? Wait 10 minutes. Want to open YouTube and browse the homepage? Do one boring task first. You're not saying no forever. You're just interrupting the loop. And then those 10 minutes of friction, observe the craving like it's a wild animal locked in a cage. It'll roar, it'll beg, it'll carry on like a lunatic, but eventually it gets tired. The delay weakens the craving loop, and each time you do it, you teach your brain a new message. I'm in charge here. That tiny bit of friction is all you need to start regaining control and building discipline. That tiny gap between wanting and acting is where self-control lives. The second way to fight back is to do boring things on purpose. Here's something you may not have heard from your productivity YouTubers and TikTok feed. You need more boredom in your life. Dopamine has trained you to chase highs. Low stimulus, boring activities are what's going to bring you back to normalcy. And it's also one of the most underrated ingredients when it comes to creativity. So try cleaning your room without music. Go for a walk without your phone. Sit on a park bench and just stare. You'll probably feel the itch, the voice that says, you should be doing something productive right now. At least listen to a podcast or an audiobook while you're walking. Ignore it. You're not wasting time. You're actually doing something super important. You're teaching your brain that not every moment needs to be maximized. The third technique is to track the cravings. Dopamine runs your life best when you're not paying attention. It thrives on autopilot mode. So, we're going to break the autopilot. Every time you notice yourself reaching for food, your phone, a little hit of online validation, pause. Don't judge, just ask, who's driving right now? Me or dopamine? And you can even take it a step further if you're one of those super self-reflective people. So try to notice the patterns that surround your cravings and write them down. I reached for Instagram when my work was starting to feel difficult. I opened YouTube right before diving into work. I craved sugar right after finishing a task. You're not doing this to shame yourself. You're doing this to make the unconscious conscious. And our fourth and final strategy to beat dopamine addiction is to feed the here and now system. How do you do that? You start doing activities that anchor you in the present moment. And not because they'll make you better, but because they'll make you present. Cook a meal slowly without any music or podcast or TV show in the background. Go on a walk and pay attention to nature. Have a real conversation without a phone on the table. Do one task at a time. No switching, no background noise. These aren't hacks, they're not sexy, but they work. They're like weightlifting for your presence muscles. And over time, you'll notice, I don't feel as frantic anymore. I don't wake up and instantly have to check my phone. I actually enjoyed that boring moment. That's the here and now system kicking in. And when you start to feel it, even just a little, dopamine loses its monopoly over your life. So yeah, for now, dopamine does control your life. But now you can see it. You can see why falling in love felt like a drug and why staying in love felt like a chore. Why the dream job became just a job. Why you checked every box and still felt off. Because you were never chasing the thing. You were chasing the chase. But here's the good news. Once you can see the puppet strings, you can start to cut them. Not all at once, not perfectly, but enough to feel the shift. If you wanted to get a copy for yourself, please consider buying it through the link in the description. It's the best way to support the channel and costs you absolutely nothing extra. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know below what other videos you'd like to see. I'll see you in the next one.